Okay, so let me start off by saying that I was not going to make this video. I decided to make it for a few reasons. One being that I was popping off on Twitter about it yesterday, all day. I was livid. And there were so many people in the comments who kept saying, wait, what's going on? What's happening? Or hasn't he already apologized for this? What's the big deal? And I don't blame you for not knowing what's going on. We got enough stuff going on in our lives right now to not pay attention to, every single thing that pops up on the internet, especially when it concerns these sorts of influencers and creators that always seem to find themselves in drama and trouble. The second reason I decided to make this video was because I felt if I didn't, it would make me a hypocrite. I make videos about people who hurt other people. I make videos about adults who hurt children and who put children in very inappropriate and uncomfortable positions. As somebody who has been a fan of Shane Dawson for a few years, as somebody who has vocally supported him, who's bought his merch, who's watched all of his conspiracy videos, I felt that I would be hypocritical if I didn't speak out now and tell you what I feel. And honestly, I don't even know where to start. I don't want to get into details because it's so disgusting. It's so despicable that just the videos that I watched, the clips that I watched from other creators, it made me physically sick to my stomach. And that was kind of the reason I didn't want to talk about it. But it's my responsibility to do so. Because if there's people out there who support Shane, and I mean, he's got over 20 million subscribers. So we clearly see that there's people out there who support Shane and they don't know what's happening and they continue to watch him and support him, not knowing what's happening. I want to give them the facts. Now, I do not believe in cancel culture. I've always made it very clear to you guys that I'm completely against cancel culture. This is not cancel culture. I'm not telling you who to support. I completely disagree with anybody, including me, telling anybody else who to support, what to like, what to believe in, what to say. I don't police people's behaviors. I don't police people's lives. And I feel the majority of the time, canceling somebody always kind of revolves around something stupid and inconsequential that they did 15 years ago. And I don't agree with that. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to find a time that I had ever spoken out and said, this person's going to be canceled, or we should cancel this person. I may have said it in jest, but I've never once ever looked at you guys on here or on Instagram or on Twitter and said, we're canceling this person, let's go. I don't like cancel culture for what it represents, which in my opinion is sometimes censorship. I don't always have to agree with what someone says or their opinion or what they believe, but I do always support their right to have that opinion, say what they want, and believe what they believe. It is my choice whether I decide to watch them and support them. It's my choice whether I decide to purchase their merch or buy from their sponsors. It's my choice on what I do with my coin. And so often in the process of someone getting canceled, the people who still want to support that person feel as if they can't, or at least they can't verbally say they're continuing to support the person because then they'll be canceled or then they'll be attacked. It's just a huge mess. It's very unhealthy. Shane Dawson, over the years, has gotten himself into a lot of drama, even just recently. If we're just focusing on the past year, there's been a ton of drama surrounding him. And all of this stuff I kind of overlooked. He and Jeffree Star got together and created a documentary about the making of this conspiracy palette that Jeffree and Shane made together. And a lot of people were upset about that because they said it was a cash grab on Shane's part, that he doesn't care about makeup and he doesn't even like makeup. He's never been a part of the beauty community. So why is he trying to benefit financially from an eyeshadow palette? I didn't care about that because as far as I'm concerned, this stuff happens all the time. Makeup brands constantly collaborate with people or companies who aren't in the makeup industry. ColourPop collaborated with Sailor Moon. Last time I checked, Sailor Moon didn't have a YouTube channel where she was putting on eyeshadow. There's makeup companies that collaborate with like Coke or Crayola or stuff like that. Like, those aren't makeup brands. Those aren't makeup inspired brands. In my opinion, it was just two people collaborating to make a palette, and it was my decision whether or not I wanted to pay the money to purchase that palette, which I didn't because I didn't think it was a good looking palette. And then it all came out, after Tati's By Sister video that, Shane and Jeffrey were being accused of like teaming up with Tati to plan this video and expose James and call him, horrible things, even though they had no proof to back up those horrible things. Once again, I didn't really care about that because as far as I'm concerned, that's just stuff that happens with people on YouTube. People always betray each other on YouTube, especially when Jeffree Star's involved. It's not my business or my concern what these 4 people who all used to be friends and then weren't friends and then they were different friends with different people. It's not my business. I don't care. It's not at the top of my priority list for what's important in this world right now. So I'd see the videos about it and I'm like, I'm not interested. I don't care about this. Now also, I want you to keep in mind that I haven't always watched YouTube. My watching YouTube pretty much came about a year before I started a YouTube channel. I really had never watched YouTube before. I watched YouTube a little bit. Jenna Marbles was one of my favorite YouTubers. She's from my hometown. I really thought she was funny. I liked her. Joe Santagato, once again, I believe he's from New York City. I liked his New York accent. He's hilarious. And Shane Dawson. I watched his conspiracy theory videos. Those were pretty much the 3 creators that I initially watched. I did not spend a lot of time on YouTube. These days, I spend hours and hours and hours a day on YouTube just, putting videos on and listening to them. But back then, I didn't. I had never seen any other content from Shane, his vlogs, his podcasts. I'd never seen any of that because I wasn't interested. I like conspiracy theories, so that's why I watched those videos. And I thought they were really, really good. What I have seen surface or resurface in the past few days, things that Shane Dawson has done and said, I will sit before you right now and tell you I will never be able to support him again. I will never be able to even look at his face without hearing his voice saying those things. I am disgusted. I am disappointed and disgusted. I dare say disgusted. I'm disgusted. So not only has Shane been caught doing blackface multiple times, but he has said derogatory things about Black people that are incredibly insulting, and I'm not even a Black person. Now, once again, we can look at his jokes, his blackface, and we can say, this was 10, 15 years ago. These things were more acceptable then. You had comedians doing blackface. Jimmy Fallon did blackface. Howard Stern did blackface. All of these people who were trying to be funny in mainstream comedy, trying to be funny, operative word, but in mainstream comedy, they were doing it. So an aspiring comedian like Shane Dawson might see that and be influenced by it. Okay, I get that. I might let you slide with that one. But I also think you have to be a certain kind of person to look at a white comedian doing blackface and think that's funny. Whenever I saw a comedian doing blackface, I just felt uncomfortable, but that's just me. But, you can make the argument that you have Black comedians who did, whiteface? You got White Chicks with the Wayans brothers, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think that's hilarious. So, I don't know. Is there something wrong with me that I think a white person doing blackface isn't funny? Because of the historical implications, because of what that meant in the past. And I have no problem with Black comedians dressing up like white girls. What does it say about me? I don't know. I think it might say that I care about intent and I care about implications, but whatever, it's just my opinion. But he's also said horrible things about and to Black people. He was talking about a friend of his who was a Black YouTuber, a young woman, and he said he's helping her to get her YouTube channel going because she doesn't know anything because she's Black. And, he laughs after, like, it's a joke. It's a joke. Not funny. But I know there's a lot of people out there, people who love Shane Dawson, like I did at one point love Shane Dawson. You're talking to somebody who was a very, very big fan of Shane Dawson, watched everything he put out. Well, not everything, but every conspiracy theory video he put out, I watched those. You may say, Stephanie, why do you care about that? You're not Black. Get over it. Like, we don't need white girls being upset for Black people. Okay, well, if that's what you think and that's how you feel, that's fine. But what I think I do have the right to be upset about as a woman, as a mother, as a human being who lives on this earth and has to see every single day how horribly our children in this country and in this world are treated by adults sometimes. I have the right to be upset by the content that's surfacing showing that Shane Dawson is incredibly inappropriate with underage children. And when I say inappropriate, what I really want to say is the P word, but I can't because I'll be demonetized. But you know what the P word is, right? The P word. I'm not going to go into specifics. Like I said, it's absolutely disgusting. I will try to give you like an idea. I haven't decided if I'm going to put clips in this video yet, but I will link a bunch of videos from creators who do go very in-depth and have, taken their time to expose him. Petty Page did a very good video on it, John Crimes, many others. I'll link them all in the description box and you can peruse those, but give yourself a break between them because you will probably feel like throwing up. First of all, it appeared that at some point while he was vlogging, he was with his cousin Lucy quite a bit, and Lucy was 12 years old at this time. Shane talks on camera with Lucy so inappropriately, so disgusting. I couldn't even believe it. So in one clip, it shows Shane and his girlfriend at the time, and they make sure that Lucy's mother leaves the room first, and then they start whispering to her, and they use Peeps, like the candy, the Easter candy, to show her how sex happens. She's 12.
Lucy. Wait, Lucy, let's get real.
That's so embarrassing.
We want to know. We have a question.
What is it? Very important question. And you don't need to feel shy about it.
No, you really...
It's natural.
It's natural. Is there anybody around? No?
It's natural for a girl at your age.
Yeah. So we want to talk to you. We want to explain what sex is to you. We did get really quiet.
Where's the other peep? We should probably explain.
We'll just use Peeps. Okay, well, one Peep and then we'll use you.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll just pretend like that's, I mean, that works.
Lucy, this happens.
See, oh.
He says incredibly explicit and inappropriate things to this 12-year-old girl that I cannot even say here. He asks her if she's got her period. He asks her about, I can't even talk about it. I'll link clips. Then he seems to be with Lucy and another young girl who I think is Lucy's friend. I don't know exactly who these girls are, but he pretty much is talking to them and he asks them to, twerk. He tells one, show more skin, and he has them dance and give each other lap dances while he watches. The last clip is him sitting in the chair that they were previously sitting in, and then it goes dark as if he's expecting them to do it to him.
Look at you. Where'd you get your pants at? Look, it's like little Sinead. H&M? Girl, ooh, that sounds dirty. That sounds rough. H&M.
Good job, Lucy. But next time, shake your titties more. And you, take off the jacket and show more.
And Lucy, I checked my statistics and I have a lot of child molesters watching, so can you please eat a cocktail weenie? Do it slow. Oh.
I like that chocolate, that weenie. Ooh, it tastes so good.
Do like an Asian, Okay, give her a lap dance.
All you ladies pop your pussy like this. Shake your body, don't stop, don't miss. All you ladies pop your pussy like this. Shake your body, don't stop, don't miss. Just do it.
There is also a music video that Shane did with a young boy who cannot be more than 11. And in this music video, he has these cookies that are shaped like male genitalia. And he shoves these cookies into this little boy's mouth. Then there's another clip where it's Shane and his mother, and they're meeting a fan of Shane's for the first time on webcam. And literally seconds after, she gets on, she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it's you. I'm so happy to meet you." And he says to her, "Twerk for us." He doesn't even say hello. He just says, "Twerk for us." And his mother sits next to him and says nothing. And then the girl finally does start twerking, and his mother laughs and claps and says, "Good girl."
I love you too. Can you twerk for us? I know twerking is insane.
Oh, I love you too.
Oh, I love you too. No, shut up and twerk. Maybe she can't hear us. Give it.
Okay.
Twerk for us.
Oh,
here we go. She's moving front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell her to show herself.
Stop it, Shaylee.
This is literally the first time he's meeting one of his fans, and she appears to be a young girl. I don't know exactly her age, but he really probably didn't either. He didn't ask. He just asked her to twerk. And then after she twerks, Shane goes, tell her to show herself. And his mom's then like, oh, Shane, stop, but these are all enablers. Like, nobody at any time, there's people around all the time while he's doing this. His girlfriend in the clips with his 12-year-old cousin, she never says this is wrong. She says it sometime like, oh, I feel like I shouldn't be doing this. But she never says, let's not do this. This is wrong. What's wrong with you, Shane? Like, how could I be dating somebody like you? You're twisted. She never says that. His mom's never like, why are you asking this young lady to twerk for you when you've just met her? Why are you asking her to disrespect herself for you like she's some dancing monkey that you can order around? She looks up to you. What's wrong with you? Nobody ever says this. Then there's the infamous clip of Shane Dawson, a 21-year-old Shane Dawson. This was 10 years ago, I believe, in 2010. In front of a picture of 11-year-old Willow Smith, and he's basically like humping this picture of her and pretending to pleasure himself at the same time in a very vulgar and disgusting way. A 21-year-old man doing that to a picture of an 11-year-old girl. And of course, Jada Pinkett Smith caught wind of this and she posted on Twitter something like, Shane Dawson, I'm done with the excuses. No more excuses. Willow Smith's brother, Jaden Smith, also called out Shane Dawson.
Oh, Willow. Oh, I'll whip your hair.
But this is not the worst of it. The worst of it really comes from his podcast. I believe his podcast was called Shane and Friends. So on one of these podcasts, he's talking to a woman, I believe she's the other host, and he's telling a story that he's in a restaurant and he pulls out his phone to take a picture of his salad, and a 6-year-old girl approaches him and she asks, what are you doing, Instagramming? And he's like, yeah, I am. What do you know about Instagram? And she said, oh, I am on Instagram too. I have 125,000 followers. I do cheerleading, blah, 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 this, and that. And he starts talking about like how she's, almost got as big of a D as he does. And then he says he looks through her Instagram to, kind of look at these pictures of her.
The 6-year-old girl goes, oh, how many followers do you have? I have 125,000.
No.
Her dick was almost as big as mine.
Really?
And I said, okay, little big dick, why do you have so many followers? And she goes, oh, I'm a cheerleader. And I'm like, oh, really? And she shows me her Instagrams, which are like, first of all, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, she's like sexy. She's like sexy.
You're disgusting.
And the host, the woman host, she's like, okay, enough. Like, that's illegal. You can get arrested for saying that. Like, you shouldn't say this stuff. And then she starts talking about how, yeah, Shane, we have talked about this P word before. And I don't like to think about it because you have a justification for it. And it's creepy.
I know. Listen, we've talked about pedophilia
this
before.
is Shane. Like, do not say this, and like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, you will get arrested. Like, he kind of can.
Listen,
he
allegedly,
has his justification for pedophilia,
okay.
And it's so disturbing. And like, I just pretend that he doesn't.
Okay, wait, no. Let me explain.
No. Oh God.
Here's my justification for pedophilia.
I can't.
And Shane doesn't take the cue. He's not like, maybe I shouldn't talk about this. He goes on to explain what his justification for the P word is.
Here's my thing. People have foot fetishes. People have fetishes about, everything. Fine, everybody do your thing. So why is it when somebody looks at Google's like naked baby on Google and jerks off to it, they can get arrested? I don't understand
because
that.
And the lady's like, well, I mean, because it's illegal, so that's why. Like, she keeps trying to get him to stop talking about it. Which, in my opinion, she's enabling him continually because she claims they've already talked about it before. So this isn't the first time that she's heard that he has a justification for literally the unjustifiable. They've talked about it before, and she still continued to affiliate herself with him. But now she's like, okay, stop talking, stop saying this stuff. She doesn't want him to say it. She doesn't want him to get into trouble. I would have let his ass keep talking and hang himself with the rope of disgusting words that was coming out of his mouth. Then Shane Dawson, because he doesn't get the hint to shut the hell up, he keeps talking about how, just to see what would happen, he went home and Googled naked baby.
Here's the worst part of it. I actually went to Google and I'm like, I don't want to see.
You could get arrested.
I know, but I just wanted to see like, okay, let me pretend like I'm a pedophile for a sec.
Dude, you don't have to pretend. You are the P word. You don't have to pretend.
So I typed in naked baby. First of all, They were sexy.
So then he goes on to talk about the 6-year-old, again, the one he met at whatever restaurant he was at, who they were talking about Instagram, and he says he looked at her pictures and she had makeup on and she was sticking her tongue out.
Okay, back to the Instagram. So I look at this little girl's pictures and she had makeup on, she had her tongue out, she was doing like the peace sign, she was doing a backflip.
Is she like Honey Boo Boo? Is she fat?
No, she was like a skinny little sexy 6-year-old.
He said, quote, she was a sexy, skinny 6-year-old. There was another clip from a podcast where one of the hosts was talking to Shane about a baby that had been sexually abused and died as a result. And Shane's response was to laugh.
The baby that died from being raped, you can laugh and make a joke about how the penis must have been so big it burst through the baby's skull.
You hear that
What?
news story? Some guy killed a baby because he was like, he like raped her and fucked like a 4-month-old baby, and the baby died. Isn't that disgusting and amazing?
Where did you read that?
It was on the news.
Amazing.
It was like, meaning like, what the fuck? Like, who are you? Are you kidding?
That's
a fucking
insane.
baby?
What does that even mean? So did it die because the dick went through its head?
I honestly did not research super hard because I was like, this makes me really uncomfortable.
There's other clips of him on this podcast talking in great, terrifying detail about torturing and killing a woman. When I say great detail, it was hard to listen to. He said he would tie her up and get her in like a position where she couldn't do anything, and then he would make her say the most disgusting racist things ever, and then he would rip her tongue out of her throat and then say to her, "That's the last thing you ever said," before going on to torture her. He said something like he would pull off her fingernails one by one with his own hands. So that's the only specifics I'm going to talk about. Like I said, I might insert clips and I'm going to definitely link videos, but you may be a person that feels like this isn't a problem, that he was just joking. This is comedy. I'm a big fan of keeping comedy uncensored. I think comedians should be able to make jokes about whatever they want for the sake of comedy. If their audience finds it funny, you do you. I don't care. This is not comedy. This is not funny. You're talking about what I believe to be grooming of a 12-year-old girl, his cousin. You're talking about calling 6-year-olds sexy. You're talking about Googling pictures of naked babies and thinking that that was sexy. You're justifying the worst possible thing in this world that you could do to a child. And you have a justification for it that you've clearly thought through. You've also clearly thought through how you would torture and kill someone. This is a dark mind. This is a mind that is dark and twisted, and I don't know where it ends. I believe Shane Dawson needs help. And if you are one of those people that are out there still defending him, still saying he apologized, you know, we have to move on, people can change. I believe 100% people can change with anything but this. Anything but this. If you are a person that has those feelings about children, that doesn't go away, ever. There's no rehabilitation. There's no changing. There's none of that. That is always an impulse in you that you can't control and you can't eliminate from yourself. It's who you are. And I'm going to pull a little bit from the movie A Time to Kill. You remember A Time to Kill, based on a John Grisham novel. Excellent, excellent movie. And I'm going to ask you, you may be defending him. And if you are, and you have children, or you want to have children one day, or you have nieces or nephews or small vulnerable children in your orbit that you love with your whole heart, what if this was your child? What if the 6-year-old that he was publicly calling sexy and how she had her tongue out and all of that, what if that was your 6-year-old daughter? What if it was your baby he was laughing about dying from such a horrendous thing? What if it was your 11-year-old daughter that he had recorded himself pretending to pleasure himself to a picture of your daughter? What if it was your son that Shane Dawson was shoving penis-shaped cookies into his mouth on camera and then putting it out for the world to see, including any kinds of creeps and child molesters on the internet? What if it was your 12-year-old daughter that he was recording while she, danced with her friend and he was telling her to show more skin and take it off and shoving cocktail weenies into her mouth? Would it be okay? Would you feel comfortable with your child being around Shane Dawson? Would you at this point feel comfortable with your child being around Shane Dawson? Because I really want to ask you that too. After what I've told you and what I've possibly showed you or what you've seen, would you feel comfortable if Shane Dawson called you and was like, hey, your 8-year-old daughter, she's been wanting to swim. It's really hot. Like, send her over to my house. Would you do it without you being there? Would you? If you wouldn't feel comfortable sending your own child over to Shane Dawson's house and have him be alone with that child, there is no reason you should really be supporting him any longer, because his audience is a very young audience. I went on this website that kind of reviews YouTubers, and it allows parents and children to review them. So if you're a parent, you can kind of see what your kid's watching on YouTube and then look it up and see what other parents are saying. But what I was interested in was what the kids were saying. So this child stated their age as 13 plus, and it says, Shane is an amazing person. Even though he swears or jokes about sexual things, he's really a great guy. In his newer video, he visited a blind person and helps them drive. Another one where he talked to a girl that has a channel and said her videos were going decline, but he helped her out. Shane Dawson is kind of a great role model for teens adult. Please check him out. Another one, Shane is the best YouTuber in the world. He is my idol and role model. This child gave their ages 10 plus. Another one who gave their ages 12 plus. Shane is amazing, and I saw reviews saying how he does drugs. Not true. He just talks about them sometimes. And also drinks. Yes, he's an adult. Get over it. He is pretty positive and super funny. He makes sexual jokes here and there, but to me, honestly, they're super funny. I'm only 12 and I think he's amazing. This child gives their ages 12 plus and says, I've been watching Shane since I was 9. He does so many cool videos ranging from conspiracy theories to trying out weird products. He is really funny. I guess it really depends on the person watching him. In the end though, if you are a younger kid, I'd say maybe 7. No, don't watch him. If you a mature kid, like I was at age 9, then watch him. I was mature at a young age. I got my first phone when I was in 3rd grade, and very soon after that, I started watching him. He was the first YouTuber I ever watched. I'm a huge fan, and I even have his books and his conspiracy palette from when he collaborated with Jeffree Star. He is mainly for mature kids and teens. He's a great role model and openly talks about his sexual orientation. He jokes a lot, and some of the jokes can be sexual, so just make sure your kid is mature before you let them watch Shane. This other child gives their ages 12 plus. Shane Dawson is someone I have watched from the age of 9 or so. Admittedly, I was probably too young, but Shane has truly made my day so much better so many times. He can be a little inappropriate for some children and has very dark humor. A little inappropriate for some children? If he's inappropriate for some children, he's inappropriate for all children. But I did this to illustrate to you that Shane Dawson, when he was making those videos, the ones that I'm talking to you about, his audience were 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds. These are kids who might go out into the world and be approached by an adult who means them harm, who is trying to groom them, and think that it's completely natural because they saw their idol and queen, Shane Dawson, doing it to his young cousin and doing it to other young children. How can there be anybody out there who doesn't understand how this is an issue? And you can say, well, if they're kids, their parents should really be paying attention to what they're watching on the internet. I completely agree with you, but not everybody lives the same life. Not everybody has the same circumstances. When I was young and being brought up by a single mother, my mom worked 3 jobs just so we could stay afloat. I didn't have food on the table. She wasn't home a lot, but she wasn't home a lot because she needed to take care of her family, not because she didn't care. Some of these kids don't have parents who are looking over their shoulders all the time, and it could be the parent's fault. It could be the parent just trying to stay afloat and survive. But why is that the child's fault? Why should they be exposed to this kind of crap just because their parents happen to not be around enough to police what they're watching? I am so incredibly disgusted and disappointed, and I get it. Like I said, if you're a fan and you're still a fan after this and you still want to continue being a fan, I'm not going to judge you. I'm clearly angry, but I don't want to make you feel like I'm going to think less of you or judge you or think you're a terrible person if you, in your brain, can separate the artist from the content. A lot of people, they do that. I mean, after everything came out with R. Kelly, I had a hard time processing that because I grew up with his music. I loved his music. And it was a struggle for me to say, should I not listen to his music anymore? Or do I have it in me to compartmentalize and separate the man from the music? If you can do that, that's fine. I'm not judging you. I'm not thinking less of you, but I wanted you to have as much information as possible before you made that decision. The fact of the matter is, making jokes about kids being hurt, abused, taken advantage of, groomed, those jokes are not funny. My favorite comedian in the whole world is Dave Chappelle. I think he's hilarious. And his Sticks and Stones Netflix special, probably one of my favorite stand-up comedy routines that he's ever done. I've watched him since I was, in high school. The Chappelle Show was amazing. And in that Sticks and Stones special, he even made a joke about like Michael Jackson and Neverland Ranch that I found myself going, ugh, cringing inwards. And this is a comedian that I really look up to and really respect and really find his comedic timing is impeccable. He's hilarious. He's a hard worker. He's been through a lot. He has, prevailed over all of that. I have a lot of respect for him. And even having those positive feelings towards him, when he made that joke, I was like, ugh, I don't like this. I don't like this. I can't support somebody whose brain works that way. I can't support somebody who thinks that's funny. I can't support somebody who's putting that out into the world for children and predators alike to see, to view, to think that what's happening in those videos is normal. Because it is not normal. It's not normal. We should be doing everything in our power to protect our children, keep them young and innocent and naive for as long as possible. And you should never talk to a child about sex unless you are that child's parent. It's inappropriate and it's not your job and it's not your right. And what blows my mind is some of this stuff came out last year and I didn't even know because I don't pay attention to the drama stuff half the time. Like I'll watch drama videos and commentary videos in the background and stuff. And, depending on what the newest scandal is, I'll follow it and just put it on when I'm doing the dishes or doing laundry. But I'm not like in everything. I don't know everything that's happening. And I guess this stuff came out like last year in 2018, maybe. It wasn't last year, it was maybe 2018. And then everybody said the clips were taken out of context. Even Philip DeFranco went on and he defended Shane Dawson and he was like, oh, yeah, these clips are completely taken out of context. Like, I also like Philip DeFranco. I love me some Philly D, but man, what a really dangerous statement to make without knowing everything. This stuff came out, some of it, not all of it, came out couple years ago, and then there was that whole thing with his cat. You guys remember the thing with the cat. If you don't remember the thing with the cat, that was crazy. And when that thing with the cat happened, I was like, this is ridiculous. He was clearly just kidding. But now that all this stuff's come out, I believe the thing about the cat. I believe the cat thing. He got called out for some of this stuff in 2018, and he was supported by other YouTubers. He was supported by his fans who would just scream at anybody. He apologized every time anybody had a problem with it. And then it blew over. So I hope this does not get blown over. As of now, I no longer support Shane Dawson. I won't watch him anymore. And he doesn't really do anything that I like anymore anyways. He does those weird documentaries where he interviews other problematic YouTubers like Tana and Jake Paul and who else? Oh, Jeffree Star, right? So he does, and that also means something to me now because when it first was happening, I was like, oh my God, Shane's so empathetic. Shane's so relatable. He's so kind. He just wants to help these people clear their name because he sees the good in people. And as somebody who really does see the good in everybody to a fault, that's me. I see the good in everybody to a fault. There's often times where people will be accused of things and I'm like, well, let's just look into this and, I'm sure they can get past this. Like, to a fault because I want people to see the good in me. So I can only reciprocate. I thought that it was great. Like he was giving these people who'd been villainized on the internet a platform to tell their true story and really explain maybe things that happened in their past or in their lives that caused them to be this way and take accountability. But what I think now is he was just birds of a feather flock together. All of these people who are really not good people and have had scandals. It was as if he was almost validating his dark past and his problematic past by helping these people get past their own. It's like he felt almost angry or like there was an injustice that these people were being called out for the horrible things that they did and being dragged over the internet. And he was like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, we got to give these people a chance to tell their side of the story and paint them in the rosiest light possible. I think that's what it was now. Everything Shane has done now looks different to me, and that's why I can't watch him anymore. But like I said, I really haven't watched, I think the last video I watched of his that I enjoyed was the one where he made about Chuck E. Cheese pizza and how it was different sizes. And, that's kind of stuff I like from him, so that's why I watched that. But I really didn't watch many of the other ones. So it's not going to be a huge loss to me. What is a loss to me is that personally I feel betrayed. Personally, I feel misled. Personally, I feel that how did I not see this, How did I not see this? Did I just like him so much that I ignored his bad behavior. There wasn't a lot of bad behavior that he did, but I had known that he'd been in some conflicts and scandals before, and I did kind of ignore it, and I'm not doing that anymore. I have a shirt of his from, you know, the conspiracy merch. It's got like the Ouija board on it. I think I wore it last month in a video, and I wanted to burn it, but I think I'll just use my Cricut and repurpose it because it's a good shirt. And I have a lot of Jeffree Star makeup too. I have the blood sugar palette and a bunch of lipsticks, the liquid lipsticks that last forever. I mean, you can say whatever you want about this guy. He's a problem. He's got his own issues. It could be a whole nother video, but the dude makes liquid lipsticks that will last until the day you die. So I'm obviously going to use all of that because it was expensive and some of it was a gift, but I'm going to use all that, but I'm not going to repurchase from Jeffree Star Cosmetics anymore, which does bother me because he makes really good makeup, but I am seeing now that Jeffree Star is the kind of person that always finds himself in drama that I believe he creates. And he seems to have just gotten away scot-free with everything. You see this over and over again. It's a pattern with him. Manny MUA, Laura Lee, Tati, Kat Von D, Nikki Tutorials. He's always like beefing with people, and then they make up, and then they're fighting again, and then they're talking about each other, and then they're good again. It's like he walks into these people's lives, he takes the pin out of the grenade, drops the grenade, and walks away. And he's walking away from like this house that's exploded, and he's just like, his hair's floating in the wind as he walks away with a smug look on his face. Like, that's what I see now when I think of him. He likes to cause problems. He likes to, I don't know, be the kind of person that isn't loyal and can't be counted on. And that's sad. Not only for the people that he's hurt and the people who he's tried to destroy, but for him. He'll never have a real friend. He'll never have a close friend. I mean, according to him, Shane Dawson was his best friend, family even. But Shane Dawson's being dragged all over the internet. Shane Dawson is like on his way to, you know, be behind bars, in my opinion, if this all keeps going, especially if Jada Pinkett Smith gets involved and keeps pushing. Where's Jeffree? It's crickets. He's not here. He's not standing up for his friend, his family member. He's not coming to, you know, take his side or have his back or support him at all. He will get you into drama and then he'll slither away while you burn. All right, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm agitated, and I don't want to just start ranting and raving because that's where it's going. So let me know what you guys think about this. Make sure you watch the other videos in the description box if you want more intel, if you want more inside knowledge that I really just couldn't go into detail about. I'm just so disgusted. I'm so disgusted. I'm so disappointed. I was livid yesterday. I was pacing around my living room. If I had sat down and made a video yesterday, when I first became aware of all this stuff, it would have been a much different video. It would have been much less organized, even though this one wasn't that organized. It would have been much more ranting. I probably would have screamed and sworn quite a bit. I was livid. I couldn't even fall asleep last night. My mind was spinning and just running wild. Like, how many other people are like that on this platform in the world, just walking around, seeming like normal, compassionate, sweet little guys who are, you know, just wearing sweatpants and think they're overweight and so relatable and so self-deprecating. But behind their eyes, in their brain, behind closed doors, they're evil. They're evil and disgusting, and they think about horrible things and they support and justify horrible things. It makes me not want to trust anybody ever again. So like I said, I leave it up to you guys. I'm not going to make you feel guilty. I don't even, if you're going to support him still, you don't even need to tell me if you don't feel comfortable doing it, but I'm not going to judge you. There's no point in judging somebody for what they believe in and what they love. And if you think that he genuinely can change, that's your call. But you do have to understand that supporting him enables him to continue thinking that he didn't do anything wrong because he still has fans. And if he still has fans, how could he have done something wrong? He'll think it's only the people that are like uptight and not open to, you know, calling 6-year-olds sexy that have canceled him or have stepped away from him or have stopped following him. He's lost a ton of subscribers, but he lost a lot of those subscribers after the whole thing with, you know, people accusing him of orchestrating this Bye Sisters video. Like, who cares about that, man? Who cares about that? I want to see the follower count go down because of this, because of what I'm telling you right now. This is what's important. This is really the only thing that matters. He needs to be stopped, and he needs to know that he was wrong. He gave some apology. I didn't even watch his apology video, I gotta tell you. I didn't watch it. I started, And it was just this whole like, poor me, I'm going through so much right now. It's not good for my mental health. And now that Jenna Marbles has put out an apology video and it was received so well by her fans, I think I'll do that too. That's all that was. It was a copycat move. His first apology was so snark and so snide. He pretty much blamed everything that happened on the beauty community being toxic, and this is what people do. This is what narcissistic people do. This is what people who have never had to take accountability for anything in their life do. They point the finger at everyone else. It's everyone else's fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's never my fault. How could it be my fault? I am perfect. He acts like he thinks so little of himself. But inside, secretly, I believe that he has an enormous ego to rival the ego of Jeffree Star's. And then Jenna Marbles, who wasn't getting canceled, nobody was demanding for her to go off the internet. She realized that she'd done some things in the past that she wasn't comfortable with because she didn't want anybody to watch her videos and feel negative or feel a negative way about the videos. So she removed that content, and then she made an unprompted apology video that nobody asked her for to explain why those videos were deleted and why she was taking some time away from YouTube. She was genuinely disappointed in herself. You could tell that she was genuinely upset at the thought that she had hurt any of the people who have been following her for years. She is a good person. Shane saw that and he was like, well, I mean, we both have like a lot of subscribers and we both have like really rabid fans, so it went well for her. I'm gonna do the same thing. That apology was never going to come if he had not seen Jenna Marbles' video. And to me, his apology doesn't matter anyways. If we were talking about some of the smaller stuff and you want to make an apology and you want to say you can change, let me see it in your actions. But the fact that we're talking about children and what you think is okay to do to them, no apology will suffice. No apology necessary. I don't accept it. I won't even listen to it because you can't apologize for that. You can't apologize for that. Even if you were joking, the fact that you thought it was funny still shows me you're not a good person. So that's it. Like I said, I'm done. I don't want to rant anymore. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think. Share this video if you think it's worth sharing. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links are in the description box. And I will see you very soon. Stay kind, stay beautiful, stay safe. I love you. Bye.